USA Network launched its newest survival competition series, Race to Survive Alaska, on April 3, 2023. 8 teams of 2 took on the hardcore challenge of a 46-day, 300-mile race in volatile weather and inhospitable terrain for a chance to take home $500,000. With that much prize money at stake, viewers could expect the competition to be quite intense. In the Alaskan wilderness, however, it was not simply a race, but a matter of survival, and this added a great deal of excitement to the reality show. The caliber of the contestants had to be top-notch for them to qualify in the game, so it would be pretty interesting to see how each team fared. Over the course of 46 days, teams of 2 will have to traverse an unforgiving terrain from Ketchikan to Cordova and then up through the Alaskan Aleutian Islands, which is a chain of 55 smaller islands and 14 large volcano islands that extend 1,200 miles from the Alaskan Peninsula to Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. Without a chartered path and surviving off the land and with what they carry on their backs. There are 6 races, and at the end of each one, they will find a crate with one less set of medallions. So the last team to arrive will be left with nothing, and therefore eliminated. With the cast members having diverse skill sets, the production created the challenges taking that into account, and tried to find the median that would somehow even the playing field, at least initially. As the race progressed, they ramped up the challenges, and the survival skills, endurance, and mental toughness of the participants were greatly tested. The teams had some downtime, as they could only move forward for 12 hours each day, and then wait for the race to recommence. Even if there were about 21 hours of light at that time in Alaska, they couldn't keep going. However, essentially the game had no off button, as they were still out in the elements. There were no rooms provided where they could rest properly, comfortably. Once the signal was given that 12 hours had passed, they stopped wherever they might be at that point in the race. They were given time to regroup at the end of each leg of the race at a survival camp. Those who arrived ahead of the others got first choice of the ideal spot to set up their shelter and find resources. The teams were instructed to bring whatever they thought they would need for various outdoor activities. There were supplies, however, that were made mandatory by the production, particularly those that would keep them safe. Some packs were heavier than others, and perhaps that was part of a team's strategy. Heavier ones might slow people down because they would tire more easily, but they had all their bases covered as they brought everything. Lighter ones might make them travel faster, but might lack something that they would need later on. Some said it was reminiscent of Amazing Race and Survivor, so viewers who watched these 2 reality competition shows would have a fair idea of what it was going to be like. However, executive producer Alan Bishop assured viewers that Race to Survive Alaska had achieved the pure expression of man versus the wild environment like no other series. The production scouted various locations, not just to provide a different kind of challenge at each leg of the race, but also to ensure that every episode had a unique look, feel, and tone, keeping in mind the safety of the cast and crew. That said, bears are a constant threat, and the cast was trained extensively in bear awareness. The weather was also unpredictable, even if they filmed during the summer, as they still had days when it rained and even snowed. The TV series executive producer reported that the contestants were painstakingly chosen to ensure that each of them had the essential skills to make it through the race, such as rappelling, rock climbing, swimming, and kayaking. It was paramount that they had navigational skills too, meaning that they could find their way across rough country to various checkpoints using a compass and a map. The initial pool of 14 teams underwent a pre-boot camp in Leavenworth, Washington State, and skills-based training to assess the degree of competency, and were ranked on a scale of 1 to 5. After that, the production reduced the number to 8 teams based on what they wanted for the TV show. Those chosen went through a more serious boot camp in Ketchikan, Alaska. Here are the 8 teams that participated in Race to Survive Alaska, and some spoilers on their adventures from a couple of episodes that were aired. 53-year-old Jeff Leininger might be the oldest contestant, and his 21-year-old son Hunter the youngest. But no one should discount them because both have been going on adventure races for most of their lives. Hunter believed that this prepared them for participating in what he called a dream adventure that challenged them like never before. This pushed him way out of his comfort zone. His dad was the one he would trust most with his life on this toughest race across Alaska. Hunter was only 7 when he joined a 6-hour race, and he'd been hooked ever since. The appeal of adventure racing when he was young was that he could race with his father. He was 11 when he became the national record holder for the youngest racer to finish the 2012 U.S. Adventure Racing Association USARA 24-hour nationals in New York. He set a world record as the youngest finisher at 13 in the 72-hour Sea-to-Sea expedition race in Florida in 2014, and at 16 in the Adventure Racing World Series Championship in Wyoming in 2017. The secret, he said, was to never give up, even when the going got tough, or when he was in a lot of pain. Jeff might have the right experience to back him up, as he'd participated in over 100 endurance races, but it seemed that in getting old, he developed some fears that made him hesitate in taking on some of the obstacles, knowing that one mistake could cost them the race. He struggled walking through the marshes, as his foot got stuck in a muddy sinkhole a few times. He also accidentally nicked his knuckle with the blunt side of an axe as he was hammering a spike on a tarp, causing it to bleed. Shortly after relocating to Alaska, Brett Gatton met Esther Sanderlin through a dating app, and they hit it off, sharing a passion for the outdoors. As she greeted him on his birthday on Instagram, she called him her favorite mountain man and said, "We've been on so many adventures already, and I've loved every one of them. You are truly my perfect match with your adventurous spirit, drive, patience, goofiness, competitiveness, and spunk." He's competed in Olympic track triathlons, while she's a champion dog sledder and bush pilot. She has 3 kids from a previous marriage, but both are divorcees who found another chance at love and have been dating for 2 years, the majority of which they've spent hunting, fishing, and going on snowmobile rides. Both were in their 40s when they joined the ultimate adventure in Race to Survive Alaska. The two carried 78-pound packs, about 35 kilograms, heavier than anybody else's. And it seemed to create a problem for them considering that it was the hottest time of year in Alaska, at 82 degrees Fahrenheit. On top of that, they were a bit overdressed, so it wasn't a surprise when Esther was heard saying repeatedly that it was really hot and she needed electrolytes. Brett, however, just wanted to keep going, perhaps not realizing that Esther's condition was becoming serious. Esther passed out from severe heat stroke, and viewers could hear one of the first responders saying that she was unresponsive. She was airlifted from the race and taken to a hospital, where she stayed in the intensive care unit, ICU, for 3 days, fortunately making a full recovery. Wilson Hugendorn is a 23-year-old gold diver, while his older brother, 25-year-old Oliver, is a commercial fisherman. The two were natives of Nome, Alaska, so they possibly had a home field advantage. If that wasn't enough to give them an edge over the other teams, then being the first Native Alaskan team to reach the summit of Denali in 13 days, and to ski down from the highest peak in just 1 day should do it. The Inupiaq brothers won over viewers quickly, as they gave off positive and fun vibes. It was a survival race, but they seemed to be having the time of their lives. Wilson is keen on experiencing new things and likely to dive headfirst into danger, while Oliver is the voice of reason. 33-year-old Max Jenahan wasn't new to surviving in the wilderness, as he'd previously appeared in multiple seasons of Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid. He'd spent 156 days naked on 4 continents and was only provided with a satchel and allowed to bring with him one useful item, such as a fire starter or a machete, to survive. This meant that he had a great chance at winning this race, as he not only had a partner, but also a backpack full of things he would need. 25-year-old Christian Junker is an experienced ice climber with excellent navigational skills, having worked as a mountain guide. The two met through a common friend. Both are opinionated, so it's expected that they will butt heads during this race. 29-year-old Kason Crane and his 25-year-old sister Bella are Ivy League graduates. Their mother, Isabella de la Huse, had participated in the Ironman World Championships and completed 50 marathons in just about 50 states after she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer at the age of 54. She went on an adventure with each of her 5 kids. She took Bella with her to climb Mount Aconcagua, and she and Kason ran a marathon in Alaska. The siblings are very much into outdoor adventures. Kason is the first openly gay mountaineer to successfully climb the highest mountains on each of the continents, referred to as the 7 Summits. This was a goal of the Rainbow Summits project that he launched to raise awareness and funds for the American nonprofit organization called the Trevor Project, which was focused on suicide prevention efforts among LGBTQ youth. On her own, Bella completed the Pacific Crest Trail, which is a 4,000-kilometer-long hiking trail with elevation that ranges from 110 feet above sea level to about 13,000 feet, 4,000 meters, and passes through 7 national parks and 25 national forests. The siblings hope to make their family proud and show the world what they're capable of, considering their background. Genevieve Walker is a 33-year-old wilderness first responder, as well as a certified rock climbing guide and instructor. She joined the Rock Guide course, an affinity program for the American Mountain Guides Association, to hone her skills in various terrains, rope management, efficient transitions, and self-rescue. Self-discovery is a lifelong journey for her, as she admitted to having a never-ending battle with her own identity, saying, "Never felt black enough or white enough, so mixed was my default." She met Favia Dubik, who is a year older than her, at a rock climbing festival, and it appeared that they bonded over wanting to create an established space for Black female climbers. Favia is a physician and a professional rock climber. For 7 years, she held the 100-meter track record at Harvard University. Her story was quite inspiring because she went through a lot, from being an athlete to being bedridden, as she had advanced stage Hodgkin's lymphoma and underwent chemotherapy. After she recovered, she proceeded to get her athleticism back and competed in the American Ninja Warrior, an entertainment sports reality show. She didn't want to have any regrets and became highly motivated to live life to the fullest. Robin Moore and Elizabeth Killam met in Egypt when they were having a grand time skydiving over the Great Pyramids. As they shared a passion for outdoor adventure, it didn't take much for them to want to join Race to Survive Alaska, which would certainly test their survival skills. 45-year-old Robin is a licensed pilot who took on the mountaineering challenge of the 7 Summits. Elizabeth, 36, had backpacked her way around the globe. Both women worked in the medical field, Elizabeth as a veterinarian and Robin as an emergency response doctor. Some described the team of Hakeem Eisler and Justice Norman as the most unusual. Hakeem, 45, is an Army veteran who was deployed in Operations Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom, serving in Special Operations Forces as Psychological Operations Sergeant. He was dubbed the Black MacGyver because of his know-how on primitive survival skills, and this was tested when he participated in the challenge of surviving the wilderness with the barest of essentials in Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid. Hakeem taught this particular skill set to veterans who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. He was reported to be a bona fide ninja as well, having earned a 5th-degree black belt in Toshindo, or ninja self-defense. He talked about the history of ninjas in Discovery Channel's Unsolved History. For years, 38-year-old Justice had practiced the Indonesian martial art of Merpati Puda. He met Hakeem when the latter enrolled in a course on how to perceive things without using one's eyes. When the two joined hands in Race to Survive Alaska, they called themselves Team Ninja, as Hakeem explained that ninja meant one who persevered or endured. They aimed to show everyone what people with a background in martial arts discipline were capable of. Since Race to Alaska is still ongoing, it will be interesting to see how the relationship between the two people on each team evolves as the race progresses, and the pressure to win possibly becomes too much for them. Will some teams form alliances, or will they be too wary of each other, not wanting to be with a team that slows them down or gets the better of them? With each episode, viewers will get a chance to know each individual as more of their personalities is revealed. The difficulties that these teams face are all too real, as one team was eliminated during the premiere episode, not by finishing last on the first leg of the race, but because someone from that team was rushed to the hospital with a medical emergency. The first couple of episodes that were aired might have shown which teams were leading in the race. However, as there are still many adventurous challenges ahead in the most extreme terrain in the world, anything can happen, and most likely will. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on social media or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.